Hello and welcome back to some Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Today we're going to be going over Aggro Abyss. Now this deck has been around since the start of the expansion, but I'm only just getting a chance to take a look at it here today. I generally prefer more slow decks, more control decks like Evo Haven, like the Linkal deck that I highlighted, or like mid-range Abyss. But I did see this deck has been sort of spiking in popularity the last few days, so I did want to give it a try and see if it's able to deal with some of those more control style decks. So let's go ahead and hop right into some games and go from there. Alrighty, getting into game number one here. Looks like we're going to be up against Havencraft. Havencraft is a really good first matchup here because it's the deck we're kind of curious if we can beat. Haven's one of the stronger ones with that 7-drop for Dill, so anything that we have that can deal with that is a really good thing. Any deck that can deal with sort of killing an opponent before they get to that crucial turn 7, 8, 9, I think is definitely something we want to go for. Right off the rip here, we are going to go ahead and double 1-drop. This is a new card here, Lilith Devilish Cutie. It has strike, deal 1 damage to both leaders, and last words, add a bat to our hand. So this is just a solid early game aggro card. We'll go ahead and trade through that. Drop a couple more goblins, setting ourselves up with a pretty solid early board here. Now we do have to worry about the 4-drop evolve, deal a bunch of defensive damage, but luckily we're feeling okay right now. I think we will go ahead and do the 3, trade, and go face. This sets us up so that the 4-drop doesn't completely obliterate us here in the early game. Yep, there it is, Sophina, that's the name of it. So he isn't going to be able to board clear us with this, which is just good for us. We do end up with only 2 1/1s, which suck, but it is what it is. Push a little bit more aggressively and just keep getting as much face damage down as we possibly can. We're on turn 5, so we've got 2 turns before the turn 7 spike. That being said, he does have a Zoe on this turn, but it looks like he didn't have it. So just like that, that's game number 1. Really shows the power of this deck. If you go under your opponent and he doesn't have answers, you're just gonna win. So huge fan of that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the next game here. Looks like we're going to be up against Portalcraft. Now, Portalcraft has a few different lists in the meta right now, primarily being the Storm Tempo list that I just recently highlighted.
We have much to discuss.
So, we're going to see that or Egg here. I think either of those decks would be okay for us. Not amazing, but okay. So right off the rip here, it looks like he is going to pull out Free Running. He did go Ancient. Which is a little bit unfortunate because it means he can clear this right away. I would have preferred to see the 1/1 draw card played, but it is what it is. Yeah, he is going to go ahead and be able to just instantly trade, having no problems whatsoever. Oh, we would have loved to get that Devilish Bunnied out. We're just going to bat, I think. Pass. This bat seems to have confused him greatly. Alright, there we go. Now I'm curious if he trades here. He does. He is scared of that aggro, which valid. We got a couple options here. We could Tyrannical, we could Fickle. I think we saved the Fickle for Evo turn, and we're just gonna go ahead and drop ball, deal 3. So this definitely is the Tempo Storm deck that I recently highlighted. He just had a lot of early game answers, which is frustrating, because we are not going to be able to deal with him in these early portions of the game. Which is, as mentioned, quite frustrating. So we are going to go ahead and drop Fickle. Super Evoke to get the zombie, and then we did just draw a Goblin, or Monster Litterer. So we're going to be able to trade, face. Oh, we've got a decent little wide board here. Definitely not unclearable, but a solid little board. Okay, so that's pretty rough for us. It's a really strong play from him, especially with the Evo clearing another 2/2. We just have not been able to get much to stick damage-wise this game. Okay, so we're gonna play that. The question is, do we mummy? And if we mummy, how do we decide what to trade into? Do we trade or do we go face? He's so much health left still. I think we're gonna go face with everything. I'm not a huge fan, like I said, of this this rollout here. I think this aggro list just isn't very good in the current meta. It's been figured out. Most of the higher level players are running enough clear, enough removal, that it's rare for you to be able to have anything on the board by the end of the game. Or not the end of the game, end of the turn. End of the game too. Because yeah, this can just rapid fire my stuff down. He doesn't get it to use it face, but at this point I don't know that that matters.
This might hurt. No worries.
We do have him pretty low, but I don't know that it's low enough. Because this is going to clear. With him keeping a decent board state. Yeah, I don't love this. We're going to go for the Hail Mary here, I think.
The connection.
We're going to try and all-in, just go face aggressively, and then hopefully finish him off with Anasage. I think that's our only path to winning. Is just really aggressively pushing here this last turn, hoping he doesn't have a heal. That's fine. Okay, that should be a win. Because we go through wards with Anasage. So he doesn't have a heal, and we're able to just barely squeak out a W. Because this just walks right through the ward and punches him in the mouth.
I won't give up.
Okay, fair play. I wasn't expecting to be able to clear him out that easy, especially as we ended the game. Our early game didn't really do a lot, but it did just enough so that we could finish off with Anasage with sort of, like I said, a Hail Mary play at the end of the game. So, pretty solid game. I was not expecting, obviously, based off my commentary, to pull that game out. So, awesome. Alright, right into the next game here. It does look like we're going to be up against Forestcraft. Now, Forestcraft is pretty exclusively tempo. There are still some users that are playing pure Evo, but it's definitely not nearly as common. So I expect to see tempo here. Now, tempo is going to be a really rough matchup for us. So we're just going to have to see if we're going to be able to do really anything against this guy, as he is actually Evo. Of course, I say that, and then he immediately proves me wrong by playing a deck that I don't see a lot. You know it's Evo because the crest, the faith, popped up. It does still run a decent amount of these newer cards, so is what it is. He gets out a free rush for 2/2 rush. So really powerful early gameplay from him. Wow, he went face. That is surprising. Especially because I've got a bat on board. Let's go ahead and play it this way. Then whatever doesn't get pulled, we trade with. And then this one goes face, heals up. I did that in the wrong way, but I think it worked out the way it needed to. Cool, I'm fine with that. Okay, what do we got here? What are our options? I think we do this. We don't want that to stay on the board because if it evos, it just can wreak havoc. So pretty good tempo from us so far. Our opponent hasn't gotten any evos up yet. None of the free ones. He is on his turn 4 and he's got the Mother something card that's really strong on this turn. Doesn't have it though. He can clear our board with that. and potentially play out something else with an additional 2 mana.
Never leave.
He doesn't do that, he goes for berries. Probably a good idea from him in this situation. So we are going to go ahead and hark Night Song here.
Games have no end.
And then I think we will bat. Ghost, Evo the Ghost go face here. Got him down to half already. Pretty happy with that. Now we do know he has this card, Sathanid, which is a drain, so he does have some forms of healing. As, of course, as I say it, he drops it. So this is going to get evoed, and it's going to be able to heal him for a good little bit. So he's back up to 14. Not ideal. Definitely not ideal. Alright, we got another ghost. We'll clear that there. I think we're going to go and drop a bat. Evo it. We're going to clear the other 3/3. And then we will go ahead and Chronicle of Destiny. Alright, so we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 in hand for 7 mana. So we've got 8 damage in hand.
Crisis do we face today?
The blizzard take you.
Approved.
Okay. You got a ward up. Not great for us. That's a good draw, though.
1, 2, 3, 4. I can keep this up all day.
So we're going to keep the Anai Saga in our pocket. And we're going to go ahead and play out this guy and go face. Now we are going to save the ghost, though. We have a couple different draws that get us out of this game if he doesn't heal.
Frills are pretty.
Okay. It's a little bit of cycle, and I think that's just ward. So that's why we kept the ghost. Clear this little guy. In case we draw like the 7-drop Rulinai. In case you can't tell, I'm terrible with card names. It's one of the things I need to work on. Ooh, that's a little heal. It's not a huge heal, but it is a little heal. And it's going to defend him a little bit next turn as well, because we can't play any of our low costs. And it clears that. Ew. Yeah, don't love that. Oh, that's a terrible draw. That will wrap it up. We can't win that from this position. This is a more common, I think, version of how this deck goes and plays out against Tempo Forest. I just think it's not very good against Tempo build-based decks. Its real benefit is in games against more control-heavy, more slow decks. I'm a little annoyed we didn't play against any Dragon. I think this deck would do really, really well into Dragon's Craft. That being said, cards fall as they fall, and you got to keep in mind that you're not always going to get the matchups you want. Alrighty, and that is a brief look at Aggro Abyss. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, just because I don't think this deck is very good in the current meta. I think it does okay. I think it can definitely steal some wins here or there. And it is definitely a worthwhile deck to play if you are a little bit lower on vials and can't really craft anything else. Or you're a little bit lower ranked, because you're going to have a lot of matchups where players don't have all of those answers that I was dealing with in my video today. So it is still potentially viable, but as you climb the ranks, it's going to become worse and worse and worse, until eventually you're going to struggle to really pick apart any deck that isn't a full control deck or a really, really slow build deck, which aren't very popular in the meta right now anyway. So this really does answer that question of, can you still aggro Abyss at this point in the expansion, with the answer of, no, I don't think you can. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you would like to see any particular deck covered, or if you just have any questions about the game in general. So once again, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.